says, how can you use the Bible if a person that we are talking to does not believe in its authority?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's interesting. We get this often. We appeal to the Bible in conversations with people. But what if the person doesn't accept the Bible's authority at all? So we could start a number of places with that. You want me to start?
Grab it, yeah.
Then you take it from there. So there's certainly a lot within the Bible to support its own authority. And the Bible is an amazing book, as you know. So if the person is willing to hear some of the evidence of why the Bible is a valid book, then you can go through some of that. Some of that would be the historical evidence. You can read of places, of times, of kings, and we can actually go back and see those places. I haven't ever been to the Holy Land. Maybe someday I'll get a chance to. But a lot of people have gone there and they can see, these places are real. And it validates that the Bible is true. The fact that there's so many eyewitnesses to these different things, and they were published at early times. Like you think about some of the Gospels, and if the Gospels were written and put out there, within the same generation that Jesus lived and died, people could have easily, discounted it and said, no, that wasn't true. I saw something different. So there's a lot of good evidence if the person is willing to walk down that road. But the other side of the question is maybe that's not the argument that you want to pick a fight with. Maybe if they don't believe that the Bible is an authority, maybe you will start somewhere else. And sometimes that's just kind of been a roadblock to people. They throw that up as a way to just stop the conversation. But if you just say, well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about just more generally, do you believe that a God exists? And if that question is an honest question, they're willing to engage it, then engage it. If not, then move around to other things. So what else would you want to add to that, Joe?
A lot of times I'll ask a person, well, first of all, I ask, do you have the sum control of all knowledge in terms of the existence of God? And they'll have to admit that they don't. And there's no other human being that does. And so I would ask them if it's valid to understand that we may not be able to know everything about God on our own. And is it possible that we can only know about him if he reveals himself? And logic will probably lead them to admit that that's a strong possibility. That's what they're going to have. He's going to have to reveal himself in some way. Then I would ask, if God wrote a book, what would that book be like?
That's a good question.
If God wrote a book, would it be the most unique and unusual book mankind had ever received? The answer obviously would be yes. If he's anything close to what our suppositions about God would be. Would it be a book that commanded control and predictions of historical events? Yeah, it would be. Would it be a book that revealed deep answers to the long-term moral questions that human beings ask? Yeah, it would be. Would it be a book that would be miraculously preserved over time so that we could say that no other book ever on the face of the planet has been preserved over time and has the textual trustworthiness? Yes, he would write a book like that. And then I would say, would he write a book that when you read it and you're sincerely seeking to understand what it's saying, would intersect with what John Piper calls the God-design intersection place in a soul? If God created you, wouldn't he write a book that would speak to the soul he created? And the answer would be yes. And so if that's true, why don't we take some time, like you suggested, in the Gospel of Mark and go through it together? Yes, I'll talk about other proofs about God and I'll take on your other questions. But alongside of this, let's read through the Bible together and see if you don't see that it's a remarkable book, and if it doesn't intersect with the soul that God created in you, and that you discover on your own through tasting and seeing that the book of God is the book of God. So that's another thing I would suggest. Apologetics are great, but always alongside of that conversation, encourage them to be in the Bible with you. And I think that's really the point you were making about, let's get into the Bible and see, right?
Yeah, and maybe the person doesn't believe the Bible is true, but maybe they would still be willing to read it with you.
Exactly.
I mean, people read all kinds of books that aren't true.
Exactly.
So you say, wouldn't curiosity make you, want to read it and let God's word do its work in a human heart?
Yeah, curiosity.
And we'll just trust that.
Appeal to it.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, I'm Pastor Josh. We want to thank you for watching our video from the Thinking Biblically Conference. We encourage you to click the subscribe button so you can check out some more videos from us, from our conference and from our church. We'd also encourage you to check out our website at valley4th.com. That's valley, the number 4th.com. Thanks for watching.